Hi friends! I'm finally going to continue working on my 5 Series project, and today I want to replace the brake lines and the fuel lines that are under the car, and I want to get started with some welding. I've never really shown you the underside of this car yet, but it does have quite a bit of rust, unfortunately, but that was to be expected. These are the worst spots. And the fuel lines and brake lines are quite rusty as well. It didn't pass MOT because of the rust on the brake lines. So that's why I'm going to replace them today. So I've already sprayed a lot of penetrating oil on these brake lines so that they would be easier to remove. I want to try and remove the entire brake line so I can put them next to the car and then make new ones, so I don't have to do everything from here. Oh, and for those of you that have been watching my previous videos about this car, I'm still having trouble with it stalling when idling. I did want to fix it today, or at least try to fix it, but when I'm fixing that, I really want to test drive it right away to see if it got any better. And since these brake lines were kind of rusty, I was a bit scared to test drive it like this, because I think safety is the most important thing. So that's why I'm replacing the brake lines first. Okay, so I've got these disconnected. I'm really happy that I could remove them without them breaking. I'm actually more worried about these little screws that keep the brake lines and the fuel lines in place, because I'm a bit scared that they're too rusty or something. But yeah, let's try and release those as well. Luckily that seems to work, so now I'm going to remove all the other screws. I'm not going to film every single one of them because there's like 100 of them, but I'll get back to you when I'm done. Okay, so unfortunately it seems like the previous owner has already tried to remove these brake lines because many of the Phillips screws are rounded off, and I've already tried using the Dremel to get these screws like this, so I could use a flathead screwdriver, but that doesn't seem to work either. So now I'm going to use this power file to just get the head off the screws so I can remove the little clips that are on here so that I can remove the brake lines. So yeah, that's a pain in the ass, but we'll get them off. Oh, and of course there will still be a bit of screw in here. This is where the clips connect to the car. So I'm going to drill a hole in this later when I have the brake lines off. And then I'll use some riv nuts to reinstall everything with some longer bolts, I think. So, yeah. Now let's repeat the same process on the other 20 bolts. Alright, that took me way longer than expected, but I did get all these clips off. Now all I have left to do is remove this subframe support thingy, because the lines go over there, and I still have to disconnect the fuel lines at the back. It's going to be a bit hard to film, but I'm going to disconnect the brake lines and the fuel lines inside my engine bay now. My brake lines are connected all the way down there, so I can't get it on camera, but yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Alright, that's it for the fuel lines. Now I gotta disconnect the brake lines in my engine bay, because I just couldn't reach them because these hoses were in the way. But we can do it right now. Alright, so there they are, the fuel lines and the brake lines. This actually took me 10 hours just to get these lines off. I didn't do anything else. Well, I had lunch, but that's it. It's already 10 p.m. I didn't expect this to take so long, but it was such a pain in the ass to just get these screws off and everything. But yeah, they're finally off the car. Okay, it is now the next day because I decided to go to sleep last night because I would be here today anyways to finish this. But right now I want to start by making some new brake lines and then new fuel lines, of course. Unfortunately, I won't be able to install them this weekend anyways, because let me show you real quick. This is where the old brake lines were installed, but the rest of these screws that I filed off yesterday are still in there. So I'm going to drill them and then put some riv nuts in there and use some longer bolts to install everything. But I don't have riv nuts right now, so I gotta install those, and I gotta get some new clips, because these are the clips that came off yesterday. Yeah, and I just want to get some new ones, because when I'm spending all this time I want everything to look perfect, even though you won't see it. But yeah, I'm going to order all of that, and I will make new fuel lines and brake lines today, but I'll install them next time. I have some copper here, which is what I'm going to use to make the new fuel lines and brake lines. I'm super happy that I got these off like this, so I can just remake them next to the car, except for the end pieces, because they go over my differential, I think that's what you call it in English. So it won't stay this nice if I make them. But yeah, most of it I can just make on the floor now instead of under the car. Okay, so that's it for the brake lines. Now I'm going to try and make the fuel lines. I'm hoping that I can bend these by hand because they're a bit thicker, but we're going to try now. Okay, so I'm done making the new brake lines and fuel lines. They're still not perfect because I have to straighten out the straight parts a bit, but you get the idea and I think it looks really good. Okay, so I know I said I'd weld on this car, but I just got a call that I can pick up the keys to my new garage, which is 2.5-hour drive from here. So I really gotta go now, because if I start on welding this, it will be super late, because it is 6 p.m. already. So I have to call it a day and clean up here. I'll make sure to get back here as soon as I can to complete the brake lines and the fuel lines, and then I'll really start welding on this car. But for now, thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I hope to see you next time. Bye!